The air in the courtroom crackled. Judge Harkin, a stern figure known for his unwavering adherence to the law, was about to speak. His eyes, sharp and unwavering, surveyed the room, lingering for a moment on the defendant, a young woman named Sarah. Sarah, her face pale and drawn, clutched a handkerchief, her anxiety palpable. The silence in the room was deafening, punctuated only by the nervous tapping of a court reporter's fingers. The court has reviewed the case. Judge Harkin began, his voice deep and resonant, and acknowledges the statute of limitations has passed. A collective gasp rippled through the courtroom. Sarah's lawyer, a young man named David Miller, allowed a small smile to play across his lips. The prosecution team shifted uncomfortably, their faces etched with a mixture of surprise and anticipation. The case, a minor financial discrepancy from years ago, seemed destined for dismissal. This discrepancy was a mistake. The information was entered on the wrong line item. This simple mistake is usually not prosecuted, and if prosecuted, it is only a misdemeanor, which in a trial is usually reduced to a lesser offense. However, Judge Harkin continued, after receiving a note demanding this case can prevent the defendant from becoming president, and if not prosecuted will end the judge's career after reading the note. His voice hardening, the court finds the nature of the alleged offense, though seemingly trivial, to know her accountant put an item on the wrong line item by mistake. Sarah's heart sank. The smile on Miller's face evaporated. The courtroom, buzzing with whispers only moments before, fell silent once more. Judge Harkin's words hung in the air, heavy with implication. Therefore, Judge Harkin declared, bringing his gavel down with a resounding crack, this court will proceed with the trial. Unless the defendant is willing to withdraw from the presidential race, withdrawing her candidacy immediately, this can be dismissed. Judge then waits to hear her reply. No, Your Honor, I want to stay in the presidential campaign. The sound of the gavel seemed to echo in the stunned silence that followed. Very well, this case will proceed. Sarah closed her eyes, a sense of dread washing over her. The clock of justice, it seemed, had stopped ticking. David Miller, his face now a mask of concern, rose to his feet. Your Honor, he began, his voice respectful but laced with urgency. With all due respect, the statute of limitations is not a mere technicality. He paused, choosing his words carefully. The courtroom, still reeling from the judge's unexpected decision, watched him intently. It is a cornerstone of our legal system, Miller continued, his voice gaining confidence, designed to ensure fairness and protect individuals from the endless threat of prosecution. He directed a meaningful look at Judge Harkin, hoping to appeal to his sense of legal propriety. The prosecution team, their initial surprise replaced with a quiet confidence, began whispering amongst themselves. To disregard it, Miller argued, his voice rising slightly, even for what may appear to be a just cause, sets a dangerous precedent. He turned to face the jury, his expression earnest. It undermines the very principles of justice that this court is sworn to uphold. His words hung in the air, a stark reminder of the potential consequences of Judge Harkin's decision. The eyes of the jurors darted back and forth, reflecting their uncertainty and the weight of the situation. In the gallery, whispers erupted again, a chorus of confusion and concern. The line between justice and overreach had blurred, leaving everyone in the courtroom grappling with the implications. Judge Harkin, his face an impassive mask, listened to Miller's arguments. Years on the bench had taught him to separate his personal feelings from the law, but this case, with its seemingly insignificant offense and the defendant's genuine remorse, tugged at his conscience. He knew that his decision to proceed, to bypass established legal norms, would have far-reaching consequences. The prosecution, sensing the judge's internal struggle, remained curiously silent. They had presented a meticulously crafted case, highlighting the ethical implications of Sarah's actions. Their arguments, designed to evoke a sense of moral outrage, had resonated with Judge Harkin, pushing him to question the boundaries of his own authority. Mr. Miller, Judge Harkin finally spoke, his voice measured and controlled. The court understands your concerns. He paused, gathering his thoughts. However, he continued, it is the duty of this court to uphold not just the letter of the law, but also its spirit. His words fell heavily on the courtroom, a clear indication that he had weighed the arguments and made his decision. The trial would proceed, the statute of limitations notwithstanding. The implications of this decision, the potential to upend years of legal precedent, hung in the air, a silent testament to the unpredictable nature of justice. David Miller, though visibly disappointed by the judge's decision, knew he had a duty to his client. He had built his reputation on defending the underdog, on upholding the sanctity of the legal system, even when it meant challenging the very core of its principles. He turned to face Sarah, offering her a reassuring nod. "Your Honor," Miller addressed the judge, his voice regaining its usual courtroom cadence, "we are prepared to present our case." He knew the odds were stacked against them, but he would fight tirelessly for Sarah's freedom. The prosecution team, their faces betraying a hint of smug satisfaction, prepared to present their case. The trial commenced, a tense and closely watched affair. Witnesses were called, evidence was presented, and arguments were made. Miller, a skilled litigator, meticulously chipped away at the prosecution's case, highlighting inconsistencies and emphasizing the lack of malicious intent in Sarah's actions. The courtroom became a battleground of legal maneuvering and moral debate. The jury, tasked with delivering a verdict, found themselves grappling with a complex dilemma. Could they, in good conscience, convict someone for a minor offense years after the fact, when no harm had been inflicted? The trial of Sarah, a seemingly insignificant case involving a forgotten financial document, became a lightning rod for debate. Legal scholars across the country grappled with the implications of Judge Harkin's decision, debating the boundaries of judicial discretion and the delicate balance between upholding the law and pursuing justice. Some argued that the judge's actions, though unorthodox, were justified, a necessary response to a moral transgression. They maintained that the statute of limitations, while an essential element of a fair legal system, should not be a shield for wrongdoing, regardless of how insignificant it may seem. Others, however, condemned the judge's decision as a dangerous precedent, a slippery slope that threatened to undermine the very foundation of the legal system. They argued that allowing judges to disregard established laws based on their personal interpretations of morality opened the door to arbitrary and potentially unjust outcomes. The judge, receiving another note, was told to send the defendant to prison for 300 years and make the ruling a felony. Then the judge obeys, knowing his career was on the line, then ruled in this case a guilty verdict that carries a felony with 300 years in prison. The trial of Sarah, though concluded, left an indelible mark on the legal landscape. It served as a stark reminder that justice, often portrayed as blind and impartial, could be swayed by human emotions, by a desire to right wrongs, even if it meant bending the rules. The case stood as a testament to the complexities of the law, where the pursuit of justice sometimes required navigating a labyrinth of ethical dilemmas, leaving society grappling with the question, can the ends ever truly justify the means?